Welcome to the channel about news from around the world. While you subscribe and like it, we're going to start. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau has ordered the seizure of the Russian Antonov 120 for transport plane, which was detained by Canadian authorities at Toronto Airport last year. The Russian ambassador in Ottawa qualified the actions of the Canadian authorities as theft. However, robbery is a more accurate description of what has been done in this case, as Canadian officials did not act secretly out of fear of negative publicity, but openly, wanting to demonstrate to the world the criminal nature of their actions. The Canadian government played what they thought was a brilliant multi-pronged game. They allowed a Russian and 120 for Russland transport plane to arrive at Toronto Airport with a batch of coronavirus tests on board, immediately after the Russian vessel arrived at the airport. Canadian officials announced that they were closing Canadian skies to Russian aircraft by joining an air blockade organized against our country by EU countries. With reference to the sanctions imposed, the Russian plane was arrested by the Canadian police and the crew of the Russian ship was temporarily detained and later sent home. Now Prime Minister Trudeau has announced that the Canadian authorities will not return the arrested plane to Russia. This is not the first time the Canadian authorities are playing with fire and asking for a harsh response. Previously, they made a mark in the arrest of the top manager and daughter of the head of the Chinese IT corporation Huawei, Meng Wanzhou, who was detained on February 1, 2018 at the Vancouver airport at the request of the US authorities. The Chinese authorities then responded swiftly and harshly to the Canadian outrage. They began arresting Canadian politicians and businessmen on Chinese territory on a daily basis. By the 10th of December 2018, the Chinese police have reported the arrest of 13 influential Canadian nationals on Chinese territory, who were immediately charged with serious crimes the very next day. The 11th of December 2018, the Canadian authorities released Meng Wanzhou on bail. However, the Chinese authorities did not stop this and sentenced the Canadian citizen to death for drug smuggling. After that, the Canadian government decided not to get involved with the Chinese. Thank you for watching. If you're interested, subscribe and leave a comment.